Hello and welcome to In Business. This is Aisha Farasi. In this episode, we have yet another young entrepreneur with us, the founder of Savart, who is helping people to make the right investment decisions through his wealth management app. So, my dear friends, Savart is an advisory technology company which helps their client to make sound investments to the stock market, mutual funds, and bonds. So without any further delay, let's welcome Mr. Sankarsh, the founder of Savart, in this episode, and let's get to know about his journey and all about Savart in this episode. A warm welcome to In Business, Mr. Sankarsh.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes. So starting with your journey, would love to know about your journey back end, like how and when did you realize that you need to start something like this?
I would say it was an incremental things that happened over time. So this is kind of my 10th year in the stock markets. So around 10 years back is when I made my first investment by myself. And initially it was just a passing interest and not the only thing that I was kind of pursuing. But the more I got into it, the more I really found my passion there. And the more I read, the more I understood that it aligns with the way I think. So, and the most interesting things that I keep saying about markets are like the dynamic nature and having something new to do every day, and the complexities, right, that are involved in making an investment decision. I think that keeps me really interested in something like that. And initially the idea to start off as an advisor or asset management company came out because I always had more ideas than capital, basically. So if I had 100 rupees, I had 1,000 ideas. So always I needed more cash to invest into the market. So that's when I said, if maybe we advise or manage more money, we'll have better opportunities to invest as well. And that's how the idea was born. So it was not like pre-planned or something like that.
Okay, amazing. So for a better understanding, I would like to know a little about Savart, like the whole module about like how does it work and how does it help people with their investment decisions?
Sure. So the catchphrase in the market right now is robo-advisory, where robotic or automated advisory is catching up. We don't call ourselves a robo-advisor very often because we believe we are a step more than that. But let me break it down. What does it mean? So when we say Savart is an investment advisory and an investment technology company, our core focus is to create long-term outperformance, which is called alpha, right, over the benchmarks. Say, for example, if the benchmark indices are making a 15% return per annum, our target is to beat that, right? So our targets are well beyond 15%, but then we don't talk much about it because we want to show it in performance, not in numbers. Now, to achieve this, what initially I felt is that a simple fund manager or a group of people doing it is not enough, because the decisions I make today will have impact on the lives of thousands of people and soon millions of people at Savart, right? So the decision making is biased, emotionally oriented, it is volatile, it changes with time, like all human decisions. So we said, okay, why don't we automate this process so that there can be a more consistent approach to investing, right, and to this entire process. So that is where the idea of APART was born. So APART is our internal technology, which stands for Advanced Process Automation and Research Technology. So when we started APART, it had a lot of different ideas, but then it evolved over time, and now it's in a very different shape from what we thought initially. But then we want to automate the investment research process as much as possible. So we use quantitative, qualitative data as well to make our investment decisions. And over time, we want to eliminate the manual process of research completely. So robo-advisory is just a set of rules that picks out a particular portfolio for a client based on their profile. But it's hard-coded, and the bias is also hard-coded of the internal analyst or the fund manager. But in robo research that we are doing, the investment discovery or the research of the opportunity for investment itself is automated. So the end-to-end process from investment discovery until exit is automated, and that's creating the better return for our clients. And as we continue to perform better and the track record that we have built for ourselves, the more we extend it, the people would, of course, the word of mouth marketing and referrals would increase. So that's how we are growing at the moment.
Yes. But when we look at the market size, there are a lot of investment companies.
Yeah.
So how does Savart, it blends with the evergreen investment investment companies with the modern day technologies?
Yes. So one is in terms of, there's a different perspective of looking at it. For a billion population basically. Of course, in that the investment ready population is a whole different number, but there's close to, I think, 2-3,000 registered investment advisors. Out of that, I think 300-500 only have an active business running, and only a few hundreds of them would have, I'm talking about RIAs, registered investment advisors with SEBI, and less than 100 or 200 of them would have assets under advice over 100 crores or 200 crores, which shows the amount of potential left, right? Which means our meaningful competition that we have in the market in the advisory space is less than a few dozen companies. So already we are one of India's largest advisories, but the problem is the market itself is small at the moment. The potential to grow is large. So currently our issue is not competition at all. It's about educating the client, because 70-75% of our clients are first time investors. So they are not comparing us with any XYZ company. They're comparing our services with a fixed deposit or gold or real estate. They're not comparing us with any other advisory company. This issue would come 10 years down the line when the market would be much bigger and the competition would really be high basically. So currently all we need to invest is in education of people so that there is no mis-selling. For example, most of the companies in the market talk about trading and speculation and short-term stuff. On the other hand, we are talking about long-term patience and old school fundamental investing. So that's not very, sexy for the young audience, right? They want quick money. So when we say something like this, it becomes difficult to educate them. So though it's the difficult thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And that's why we are investing into it. And I think that's our investment into future of the nation as well. Because the more responsibly people invest, the better they'll be part of the overall prosperity.
So I want to understand a little more over here that how are you using AI technology in this investment process or through the Savart?
Yeah, so one, there are a lot of things that we have envisioned and thought. Some have worked as per our plan, some haven't. But then, of course, all the outperformance or the alpha that we have generated is thanks to our algorithm. I mean, most clients often think that I am sitting behind and making that research decisions technically. That's not really the case. Nor do we have a great, huge number of people in the research team, because like I said, we have automated much of the process. However, in terms of what we do at Apart, there's 3 core engines that we have kind of built. So, or in fact, still building. We can't say build because it's always a work in progress, and there's so much more that we want to achieve there. So one is Quant, which looks at quantitative data, like all numeric data like P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flows, maybe director remunerations, anything that can be put in numbers basically is analyzed by Quant. Iris looks at qualitative data, subjective abstract information, things which can't be put in numbers like ethics. You can't say ethics of a company is say 7 out of 10. Difficult. You need to explain what is 7, what is 10 basically. So this qualitative information is also analyzed. Now this system also makes it different from the typical quant based hedge funds, because we are not just using mathematical models or technical factors to make a decision. We are looking at fundamental aspects that a promoter or management or talking to them or looking at the data that is available, their interviews or con call transcripts or annual reports, and basing our decisions on that, which was before not very easy to do with the current technology. So we are working on that, and most of what happens through these systems is again we use a lot of different technologies, of course AI related, and the last engine is Synapse, where it's all about clients risk profiling, portfolio rebalancing, exit. So looking at a client's portfolio, building it from scratch, customizing it. Now what is customizing is in terms of the client's risk profile actually decides what portfolio they get from Savart or what advice they get. Typically what happens with an advisor in the market is that irrespective of what your requirements or goals are, the advisor has technically 10, 20 or maybe even 100 stocks in the portfolio, and they give the same things to everybody. So it doesn't matter. It's like a one size fits all, which actually doesn't work. Just like your car, right? If you're buying a car, you won't buy a car just because your neighbor has the same car. You'll do your own research. Okay. Same thing with a portfolio. Something suits somebody else, something suits somebody. The asset choices could be different, allocations could be different, strategy, risk profile could be different, right? So this is all taken care by Synapse. So together, Quant, Iris and Synapse use a myriad different technologies, capture data in real time as well as historical data, and make investment decisions. And over time, not just investment decisions, we could do a lot more with that. That's the future that we see.
Amazing. So, Mr. Sankarsh, when I look back your journey, you started with the rupees of 2,000 and you have built this Crores of business right now. So, how far your journey has been, and you know, what are the challenges that you faced throughout this journey?
Yeah. So one, in terms of, I think, journey so far, I would say in the macro level or in the larger picture, it's a very, very small part of where we are going. So because we always keep telling the team that we will be the world's largest enterprise one day, right? So there is no question about it. We are going to be that. But the question is when and who will be along with us and how do we do it? That's all we need to figure out on a daily basis and work on that. So the progress so far, I would say, is minuscule, negligible in terms of where we want to be. And second, in terms of the journey or what has been the core learnings, I think it's still, we're learning every day, honestly. But one thing that I've noticed is we need to be open for change, open to adapt to what's happening in the market. Second, we need to be bold and not risk averse, basically. We need to embrace risk, right? So we need to work around it. So most of the decisions that we take in Savart and even at my other group companies generally don't make business sense, but they have a lot of fun that they give me. And that experiment is something I want to do. And when you're doing something that you like and when you're experimenting the way you want to, or we believe business growth and profitability or cash flows is like a byproduct, basically. So that's how we chase new projects and things at Savart.
Yes. Now that we understood about Savart and how it performs, so I just want to hear it from you that why should investors go with Savart? Like what makes you stand out of all these investment companies?
So one, while we always talk about technology and everything else, at the end of the day, all clients want is performance, right? Your returns. So one, we have been doing stellar at it. We have outperformed the benchmarks by almost double. We have doubled the benchmark since our inception in September 2019 with over 24.7% of CAGR. Second, we are not just performance oriented or numbers oriented, but we are doing what is right. We have invested a lot into actually helping people do the right thing. So I'll give an example. Out of every 10 people who come to Savart, 8 of them actually want to speculate or not be patient or want return in the next 1 week, 1 month or 1 year. So we try to educate them that this is not the way to do it. These are the risks associated with that. Why you should invest for the long term. What is investing? So that education that we are doing, right? And what is good for the client is what we are doing. I think that separates us from most of the people in the market. Because, for example, most of the brokers or other players in the market, there's always a conflict of interest, basically, in terms of what they do and what they say. Because most of these entities make money by the trades, basically, the trading charges. So when you want your clients to trade more often, your advice to them would be conflicted, because you want them to trade more often and make more money. So it can't be a genuine or authentic, it can't say can't be, but it's very difficult to be authentic in the way you manage clients' money. And what happens with that is most people end up losing money. We have seen the statistics as well. Recently they were published as well, how majority of the trades that are placed in the market are loss making. So what happens? People lose their conviction in the market that this is gambling, everything is a loss, everybody is a fraud. So that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth in terms of their perception towards market. So the entities that are doing this need to realize that they're not just destroying the perception for themselves, but for the market and for the people's well-being also. So it's not bad to trade, but it's also, you need to trade responsibly, basically, right? So I think that this entire idea, understanding our investment into people's education, our technology, performance, and our overall return, I think that's what makes us a great option for people to invest with.
Also here, I would like to know it from you that what is your roadmap to the next 5 years? Like what is that something new? Is it something new that is coming up for the investors in your company?
Absolutely. So we're launching our PMS, our portfolio management services. So far we have only been doing advisory services, basically, where we only advise but don't manage technically. Partly because the regulation says the management can be done only for above 50 lakh rupee investment from each client. But however, our clients are first time investors as investing much smaller amounts. So we wanted to stick with this model. Now, as an additional business that we are starting under the Savart brand, that's a PMS. So we have applied for the license and awaiting that. In 3-4 months, we'll be starting up with that. Next, we have also started our personal finance line, where a lot of clients used to ask us simple questions like, how much do I invest? Or should I invest into this real estate? And we used to be like, no, we are only into stock, we don't know, that's not our specialization or stuff. While we still believe that stock and mutual fund and equity investment and debt investment is a specialty, we have started looking at a broader perspective of people's finances, where comprehensive personal finance planning with their goals, their assets and liabilities, we have started a beta program with our existing clients. So going forward, not just in terms of investments, but we look at the overall personal finance of people. And we have our plans of personal finance and PMS would be up and running in 3 to 6 months. Then we have our Nirvana program, which is our educational initiative, where we would like to educate people through text, video, podcasts, different content communication channels, with live sessions, doubt sessions, recorded videos, from basics to advanced level of studies in this space. And finally, in terms of execution, we are going with our own broking business as well, again with a twist where there's something different from the traditional broking model that's been there in the market. So there are, I think, 4 to 6 initiatives we are already involved in, and more coming up in the next 5 years. I can't even come in. These are all over the next 1.5 years basically.
Yeah. So Mr. Sankarsh, it was lovely knowing about your journey, and it's quite inspiring to see like how you started back end and now how you're building this startup. So lastly, one advice for all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there.
So I keep saying like I have very little advice to give because I'm learning myself, but something that I've been saying always is just do what you like to do, chase your passion or interest or vocation or calling, whatever it is, and just experiment basically and have fun, and the rest will just follow.
So thank you so much for joining in this episode with N Business. Yeah. It was lovely having you here and having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much as well. Thanks.
So, well, my dear friends, today we were in conversation with Mr. Sankarsh, the founder of Savart. Hearing about his journey and hearing all about Savart, I remember a quote of Dhirubhai Ambani which states that the success of all the young entrepreneurs is the key to India's transformation to new millennium, and he truly defines this. So with this is Ayushi Farasi signing off. Stay tuned to N Business.